Well, good morning, everybody. It is Friday the 27th, December the 27th. We hope you guys all had a great and wonderful and Merry Christmas. Blessed to be here, and we're so thankful that you guys are back watching the channel. You guys that actually watch the channel, support the channel, we want to thank you for that. Wanted to take a little bit of time today to try to show you a little quick review and do a little drive around this morning. We are currently on our Christmas vacation for the end of 2024, and every Christmas that I mentioned, like I'd mentioned in the other video, and forgive me about the poor visual or quality of me driving, but I'm actually driving around the golf cart to give you guys some insight. We're going to make a couple of loops here and show you what we're doing and what we're talking about. But we're actually down in Destin, Florida. This is our last day here. We will be packing up this evening and leaving tomorrow and heading back to the house for a brief stay and then off to the next adventure. But we had never been to Destin. Heard a lot of great things about Destin. I have some friends that vacation here quite a bit, and they seem to enjoy it. The beaches here are absolutely amazing. Sand here looks like snow. It's pretty incredible. And we're on the Gulf side. Of you that don't know where Destin, Florida is located, it's actually on the Gulf of Mexico side of the ocean. So it's the water is just crystal clear. It just doesn't even look real. It's been a great trip. We've been down here for a little over a week now, and we decided to stay in a campground down here that's called Camping on the Gulf, and that's what I want to talk to you about today. This is a really good campground. I don't really know where to rate it as far as, stars rating, if you call it that, from like what you see, people do reviews. I've seen a lot of bad reviews about the campground on the internet. I try not to read into that too much, because a lot of times people just get individually hurt. I personally haven't had anything bad happen with us, and we've been here a week. Campground seems, for the most part, well maintained. Seems clean. I've not seen a lot of staff out here during this time. There's some few people riding around, some staff on golf carts and things, keeping it clean and picked up and whatever. It's a pretty good sized campground. I don't know how many sites are actually in here. We're actually on site 549, which is near the beach. That is an option for this campground, that you can stay on the beach. There's about 8 or 10 campsites that will allow you to stay on the beach, literally back up to the beach. All the sites in here are either 30, 50 amp or both. All of them that I've seen do have full sewer and water hookups. I've not seen any that weren't full hookup, with the exception of the handful of sites that are actually situated directly on the beach. This campground does do something that I can't say I've ever seen anywhere else that was done. For the folks that stay on the campground, or the campsites that are oceanfront campsites, they do have a courtesy tank service. The sites have water and power, but those sites that are directly on the Gulf, excuse me, they don't have sewer hookup. So, including in the stay, from what I was told by the gentleman we saw today that was doing the work, they have a service where they'll come around with like a little mini septic pump truck, and every other day they will hook up to your RV with their truck, and they'll pump your black and gray tanks, and it's part of the fee every other day. Now, if you need it pumped more often or more frequently, I think they do charge you an additional visit if it's the in-between days kind of thing. So that's pretty neat. I've never seen that done before. So it would prevent you from having to, have a storage holding tank where you would have to fill it and take it up to the pump station or the dump station they have on site. Morning. But that is an option too. They do have that option available. So if you have a golf cart or a means to, or if you do carry one of the sewage tanks with you in your rig, they do have a place for you to dump it here. But overall, the campground is very nice. You can't beat the location. I mean, the location is absolutely phenomenal. It is, I will tell you though, that it is I'm assuming that we're in the all season. We're here in December. It's obviously the 27th of December. So I would consider this the off season for this place. And the campground right now is probably 70% full, 65 or 70% full is where I would rate it. And it's filling up pretty good. But other than that, it's pretty good. Sorry, I'm passing people. Didn't want to rubber somebody walking their dog. It's very congested. That's the only thing about it that I would say is a big negative. There's not a lot of room to park. This campground's probably been here for quite a while. It's been here for many, many years. And they do have bathhouses on site, laundry on site. Those amenities seem to be great. They do have a small water park feature here, a swimming pool. I assume it's heated. I've seen people outside swimming after the sun goes down, and it's been some days have been chilly here in the evenings in the 40s and 50s in the afternoon, and we've seen some kids and some adults swimming in the pool. So I would assume that the pool is probably heated, but I don't know that. But they have a store on site. They have some cabins on site. They have, I'm not sure what they call these tents. They look like cabins, but they got large tent structures over the tops of them. Some sort of tent cabin hybrid thing. Don't know anything about those. But for the most part, the campsites are mostly spacious. The closer you get to the beach, the campsites are less spacious. They're a lot tighter. If you've got a large rig, I would tell you to figure out a way to do some homework if you've never been to this campground before. Would I come back? Yeah, I'd come back to this campground. I've not had a bad experience with this campground. I don't know that I would want to come here in its peak season, given how busy it is right now in the off season, with just the lack of parking. They don't really have a huge amount of overflow parking. They do have a parking lot, but the campground is very long, so you'd have to walk if you don't have a golf cart or electric bikes or some sort of other transportation other than foot transportation. The overflow parking it's kind of in the middle of the campground, so you'd have to do some walking every time you needed to go to the store. Like our campsite, our RV does fit on the campsite. It's about, our RV's 45 foot in length. And we do have the golf cart, which I'm currently driving. We weren't able to park our truck. It would not fit on the site anywhere without causing a problem. The sites are very narrow. There's been some cases on some sites where we helped a gentleman and his wife back in the other day with another large fifth wheel, and the sites were so close together, their slides were almost touching. So there was very little room between them. So that's probably the biggest negative I've seen with the campground. So do your homework with the campground. I would definitely call and talk to somebody before booking. if you're in this area already camping somewhere else, maybe see if they'll let you do a courtesy drive-through. Just tell them, say, look, I want to check it out. We have never been here before, so we wasn't sure what to expect. So it's hard to know exactly how the campground's set up. Like I said, I would probably come back to this campground, but I definitely wouldn't come in the busy season. But overall, it's a nice campground. I feel like it's managed as best as it can be for a campground. I don't really know much more what they could do. They do have somewhat of a dog park on site. I wouldn't necessarily call it a designated dog park. They have in the center part of the campground, they have a pond, which I'm sure is just a way just to control some rain and water runoff, and they just kind of converted it into a pond with some fountains in it. And they've got it to where you can actually, it's like a tiered up to where you can step into it, and it's got like a flat spot or a walk all the way around it that's grass, so you can let your dogs loose in there, but it's not fenced in. There's not really anything to protect the dogs from falling off into the water. So if they were able to, I would say that would be a good small investment, is to have somehow to maybe have a little dog park or some kind. That would probably be a nice thing to do. A lot of people obviously travel with their pets. Obviously we travel with our pets. If they had a small park, something they could divide into for small dogs and large breed animals, that would be very helpful. So, well, anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I'm gonna do a little turn around of the camera here and give you guys a little show of what it looks like here. And we hope to see you guys in Destin, and we appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you in the next video. So this here is the basketball court that they do have. So we're already into the campground, and I'll drive through. I will show you this is the check-in station here where you pull in. We'll do a double loop through here and try to get you guys a good shot of everything. So they do have a park for the kids to play with some games and stuff there. So here's the dog park that I mentioned. So this is what they're using as a dog park. They do have dog cleanup station. So I would consider this their dog park. It does work as a dog park. I just think it's very small for the amount of animals here. It is mostly cleaned up, but as you know, a lot of people don't clean up after their pets. So, but give or take, like I said, this park's overall pretty nice. Most of the sites are pretty spacious. Some sites even though the sites are big rig friendly, doesn't leave you a lot of room. I mean, you can see this guy here, it's got a nice big site here. Got a big truck dually there, plenty of room to park his rig. Just like here, gentleman's got a big site, big truck. So there is a lot of room in here on this side here. So I would say be selective of your site where you're going to stay. If you can actually figure out a way to view your site somehow and get a measurement of your site and to know if you're going to have enough room to park your automobiles when you arrive. Because there's even some large Class A motorhomes in here. I'll show you some of those sites. As we come around the bend here, we're on the back side here. I'll show you what the Gulf side looks like. We'll get a shot of that real quick. So as you come down the hill here, these are some little cabins as we get here. That's what I assume these are cabins. I've seen people go into these. Or it's like a lounge or something. So this is the Gulf part. So this is the beach camping here. So as you can see, you got beachfront, and then you got like one row over here. This area here can be very congested. As you can see how tight the sites are, and the campers or almost touching in some cases. I don't know if that's just how they've got them parked or people just too close together, but there's a lot of big rigs in here, and they fit just fine, but very, very tight. So, like I said, do your homework, make sure you can fit, obviously, and make sure whatever gear you bring to this campground can fit on your site, because this is a very congested site. As you can see, there's some room to park here, vehicles. Like that's a pretty decent site, but the sites are very, very close together. Like you can see, like this is our site coming up here, and we can't even park the truck here. This gentleman here has his truck parked, but like always, he'll have to get him to move his vehicle so we can leave in the morning, but shouldn't be a problem. We'll do a quick tour through here and show you the bathhouse. We'll do a little loop right here. So this is bathhouse number 2. So you can see there's bathhouse. This is pretty much your overflow parking part of it, parked in front of the bathhouse. I don't know if they actually allow you to park in front of the bathhouse, but it hasn't been real busy, so we were able to park our truck there pretty much all week. And we didn't have anybody ask us to move the vehicle, and we noticed that several other campers here that didn't have room on their sites were able to park their vehicles on their site, was able to park their vehicle there at the bathhouse, which was kind of on the lower end where we're also staying. We'll loop back through here and let you guys check this site out here on the inside. So this is the internal loop. Now these sites here on this inside loop here, a lot of these sites here are pull-through sites. So these do have quite a bit more space to allow you to pull in. I just don't know about what you would do to pull out of these sites, how difficult it'll be. But these do offer a little bit more space as far as vehicle parking. These here on this side of the loop through here are back in only. And then you got a couple here in the middle, another one here that are full pull through. And depending on the size of your RV, obviously determines if you can park your vehicle there. So, like I mentioned earlier, the campground seems to be, for the most part, maintained and taken care of. Some of the sites are larger than others with lots of parking and adequate additional parking. So give these guys a check, call them up, check it out, get some measurements of the site. Pretty much can't get any closer to the Gulf than this. I mean, you're pretty much staying right on the Gulf. Or you can stay on the Gulf if you get one of the beach sites. So I would definitely give it a try. All right, guys. Well, we appreciate you watching. Hope this video didn't get too wordy or too lengthy and just kind of drawn out. But want to give you guys a quick review of this campground. Like I said, the only problem we had was just backing in, getting on site. We had a good bit of difficulty getting in. We actually had to pull in. We had to unhitch the truck and then had to hitch it up a different way. And then we were able to then, back the camper into the site we wanted to stay at. So other than that, not a big deal, other than just a very tight site. So we appreciate you guys watching. Subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next one.